Disgruntled Gamer Rant. This podcast or this episode's Disgruntled Gamer Rant is developers who ignore their fan base or their player base. Developers that ignore their player base. So, Grant.
Which as of late has been everybody, all of them.
This is where I think this is a good subject to talk about because we look at what we see on social media, right? Like players or fans of these games or these studios, they come and they might have like a legit concern about something.
Yeah.
Or they'll respond to someone but what happens is with the response from the developer, they'll either go on a rant, a tirade, blame the gamers when it comes to either studio shutting down, their game's not doing good. When the gamers beforehand, Reddit, whatever you want to go to, talking to these studios like what they like, what they want to see in their games, what they don't like about certain things in their games, especially when these pre-alpha footage comes out for these games, game trailers come out, whatever, official reveals, and people voice their concerns. Well, what does the developer do, especially nowadays?
Oh, they'll get on Twitter.
Specifically more Western developers. They'll tell them to pretty much pound sand. They say the game fails. Yeah. Oh, well, it's the players' fault. Well, the players were telling you what they wanted.
No, it's not gonna say that. It's MAGA fault. That's what they say. It's the Trump supporters' fault.
Yeah, but overall,
that's normally where they go to. They go to politics immediately.
They go to politics a lot.
Yeah.
But what I'm just saying is, like, they complain about their games failing, and then they go after the gamers and blame the gamers when they didn't even listen to the gamers from the first place. Correct. From the get-go.
No, at all. Like a little bit. Not even a little bit.
So why do we bring this up? Because what I'm concerned about is the mass amount of studios shutting down right now.
Yeah.
Mass amount. Like a lot in the West. A lot of studios are shutting down. We're talking about AAA game studios, Ubisoft closing down a lot of their satellite studios and stuff like that. And then what happened just recently with Warner Brothers games, with Monolith shutting down, which was, of course, the Lord of the Rings,
Shadows of
Mordor and stuff like that. I love those games. They had the Nemesis system and all that stuff. I really like those games. But anyway, but at the end of the day, these developers, all they do is bitch about the player base. After the player base has let you know what they want in their games, but they don't listen to them. I'm not saying all of the studios. Okay, there's a lot of good studios out there that they love the feedback and they take the feedback seriously.
Yep.
I would say now we can bring up Daniel Vavra in Kingdom Come Deliverance and his little tirade they went on. But at the end of the day, their studio heard the feedback from Kingdom Come Deliverance 1.
Yep.
They heard all the negative things that the first game had, and they exponentially changed everything and fixed a lot of issues that the players were kind of griping about from the first game. And they added things that players wanted to see in their new game.
Yep.
All right. You can say whatever you want about Daniel Vavra, but at the end of the day, they listened.
He just handled it wrong.
He handled that social media stuff.
Yeah, he didn't do anything like super outrageous. He just could have handled it a lot better.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was an example of a studio caring what the players' feedback is and implementing those changes in their new game. But then you have BioWare.
Oh, yeah.
They had a great run with Dragon Age. Like you hear before the Veilguard came out now, you hear Dragon Age, you're like, hell yes.
It's a day one get. No.
So BioWare decided to go, everything they did in the past Dragon Ages, they decided to change everything. Fans didn't want it. The fans were actually attacking them at the get-go when they saw the trailer.
Ask for it. They didn't want it.
They saw the trailer and they were like, "Oh no, now what are we doing here?" But anyway, so they went from going from Dragon Age to Dreadwolf, a concept that they had that everyone was like, "Oh yeah," because they showed some pre-alpha stuff for the Dreadwolf at the time. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, this shift and they renamed the Velguard. And then they put out new footage in these early, like these conventions and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it was just like, whoa, what happened? What you showed us this from Dreadwolf looked really cool. Now you're showing us this new stuff for the Velguard. How you changed? No one was asking for this at all.
Yeah.
But these young creators and politically minded, I'm talking about fucking their world revolves around politics and activism. Developers decided this is what the gamers want.
Yeah, this is what everybody wants. Yeah, correct.
And then what did BioWare do after Dragon Age failed?
They blamed the gamers.
They blamed the fucking gamers.
Mm-hmm.
They blamed the grifters. They're calling our game woke. That's not the only reason your game failed.
Yeah. Also, we can go to Concord. Concord did the same. Well, first of all, nobody asked for that game at all. Like, that game should never even been created. But they did the same thing with their character design. Like, nobody asked for none of those characters to look like that. And then what happened when it failed? They blamed the gamers.
Let's go back to like one of the early podcasts when we saw that in the State of Play, right?
State of Play.
We saw the reveal in the State of Play.
Mm-hmm.
We had a checklist of stuff that we were like, why this game was going to fail.
We said it.
Like, it was hitting these check boxes, like these checks of like bad character design, bland gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, just like you're not going to be able to compete at all in this market with the hero FPS stuff. You're just not going to do it. And you had no characters that appealed to anybody. And so we had this checklist, and we're like, this game is dead on arrival.
Dead on arrival. We said it.
This was a day after the State of Play.
Yep.
Our next podcast. As soon as we watched State of Play, we had a podcast, and we talked about why the game was going to fail.
Yep.
And sure enough, it completely failed. The studio shut down and everything. It just bombed. $400 million down the drain.
Same happened to Dustborn. Well, nobody asked for that game either.
Well, no one cares about that game.
But the thing about it is they did the same thing. They blamed the gamers. Everybody hated on our game. Everybody racist, misogynist, bigots. Same thing.
Yep. All right. So let me pull this up real quick. This is one of the many reasons why what game devs are doing. All right. Game devs, players, they're just not together anymore. A lot of these, but it's not the players' fault. It's the game devs, some of these studios' fault, mainly in the West, that it's not necessarily woke shit. All right. I just put that there because I thought it was funny.
It's funny.
But they're turning away from what players want, and putting their eyes on ideological needs or wants over their player base.
Correct.
And it's not working for them. It is not working for them at all. But we do talk about this a lot, but I think it needs to be regurgitated. Like, this needs to be regurgitated because these studios, like, they'll blame the gamers, and then next thing you know, their studios they're losing employees. Employees are getting fired or laid off. Studios are shutting down, and we're giving if you do a track record of a podcast, we're giving them the roadmap on how to succeed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a game dev. Okay. I can't code a game, but I know what makes a good game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of it involves common sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it does. It involves common sense and paying attention to your players. What kind of game you're making? Okay, how do we appeal to those players?
What happened to market research? Do people not do that no more?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like in when it comes to even testers, like, they don't do testers anymore.
No,
I guess not. I mean, like, I'm looking at some of these recent games, like Avowed. I'm like, did they even have testers for that game?
That's what I'm saying. Didn't they used to have
play the game?
Didn't they used to give like 10 copies out, or invite people to the studio?
Or is the new testers the people they give selectively their early reviews?
They all work for IGN and GameSpot.
Like, because I played the game 100% in it, close to 100% in it, and then I look back and like, man, if they just let me play their game before releasing it, I could give them a plethora of stuff that they could have fixed to make the game even better.
Yeah.
But it's like it's nothing like, wow, how do you think of that? It's just common sense shit that I noticed playing the game. Like stuff they could have probably patched rather easily, and certain I'd say
And remove
mechanics that
Tosh.
they could have made a lot better. And then you have all the fakers coming out here saying it's a 10 out of 10 game, and it's not. It's a solid 7. But it's a major issue with these developers. Like it's a major issue right now in the West, and they got to get their shit together.
Same thing's going to happen to Assassin's Creed. I mean, it's the same game. What's different about it? What makes you want to? Besides it being an Assassin's Creed, what makes you want to play it? Like, what is it? What can I do in this game that I can't do in any other one?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just the Assassin's Creed players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They have a huge following of people that just love Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
and that's why. But I'm still like, this is where, like, if they don't meet the sales market on, or there's whatever their projected sales that they're trying to hit for this game, they're for AC Shadows, it's going to be major. Like we said before, it is going to be the death blow for Ubisoft.
Yeah.
I don't even know if their projected sales, if they meet that, is going to be able to save them.
I don't know, man. I think that might be their last game before they get bought out.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Grant,